Okay, had to change the brakes on Ford AU model Series 3. Take the wheel cap off first thing. Off the wheel nuts before you jack the car up. And I've loosened one. It turns anti-clockwise to undo and clockwise to do up. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Jack the car up and make sure the wheels are off the ground and that you've got jacks in there securely. You can't go too wrong with too many jacks. The more jacks the better. Right, thirdly, when you've got the wheel off, you'll be looking at the front brake caliper here, because this is the front we're doing, and over the back of these calipers there's a nut there we need to undo, and that's about a 12mm, and there's one at the bottom we have to loosen. We don't have to take that one off, but we can loosen it up. If you need a spanner to help you undo it, a spanner that will fit on there, which will help you out, is, I believe, let me turn it around, 18mm. Looking for an 18mm spanner or crescent, whatever you want to call it. This top one is the main one when I undo, which I've already loosened. I will remove the nut because I've already loosened this off. Now once we've loosened it, we should be able to jiggle and lift the caliper back. It should hinge back like so. If it is a bit tight, then you can tap it really light with a hammer, but just be gentle because you don't want to break any castings or anything. And also, as this flip back here, you need to watch this rubber brake hose. We don't want to snap that or the fitting on the end. Now I'm going to rest this forward a little bit because I don't want to put too much tension on the brake line hose. I'm going to need two hands now, but I'll put a clamp on these pistons. These are called the pistons, to push back. Now when we do this, we have to watch the reservoir, make sure it doesn't overflow. If it does start to overflow, the best tool you can use to take a little bit out and put it in a cup or a glass, something clean, is a syringe. Okay, just an update. This is the piston I haven't squeezed in yet, and I've used a G-clamp on the top one to squeeze in. I didn't put too much force on it, just enough till it gets the end and stops. Don't put too much force on it because you can damage the piston, the caliper piston. I'm now just going to check the reservoir level. Now I noticed on the Ford here it has a rubber protective sleeving over the top. As you can see, the level is quite high now. I might need to find a container to put this top piece in, and I'm going to get a syringe to remove the rubber. Careful not to trip on the paintwork. Put that into the plastic container. Now I have a jar, a glass jar, which is clean inside. Now I don't want to get brake fluid on the camera neither, but I've only got a small syringe, so this is going to take a while. Okay, I won't go into too much detail, but you can see what I'm doing. Make sure the reservoir is about halfway and not too low. Now the reason I'm putting it in the jar is because if I need to top up and I take too much out, I can put some back in. The fluid drops as the brake pads wear. Mine actually looks like I need to service it. I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to clean and service out the brake fluid another day. Now I'll squeeze up both brake calipers. The fluid will raise up a bit. Now it's probably a good idea to clean all this. They say it's not recommended to use an airline because the dust is not good, but I have used an airline before, but you need a mask. But although I'm not recommending it because the dust is quite hazardous, some of it's got asbestos in it. Now I've loosened all this, you'll probably see that these old brake shoes pads, should I say, fairly easy to remove. So there's one at the front and one at the back. Now, if I put them together as they come off, then I know how they go back on, but these are pretty straightforward. And I've just got to close this up while I get the shoes. Now these are new pads. If you see on the camera how thick that is, I'll just see if I can rest that there gently without causing any damage. If you compare that to that one, just come in the light. If I show you there, I get a good focus and turn that around. That's how thin that is. That's pretty thin compared to the second one. Now this is the reason we have to squeeze the caliper up, because if we try and put new ones on straight away, they will not fit, because the calipers sit in the last location where the brakes were. Okay. Now, yep, some cars the whole disc thing does move when you take the wheel off. Some are screwed in. Now with this, you just put them in the same way you get them out. Simple as. Okay, looks like I'm going to need two hands on this, because there's a spring clip up here, and there's one at the bottom I've got to line up. Now there we go, done. Now we have this set up like this, all in. All we have to do is carefully close the caliper back down and make sure it all fits nice and snug. Just tap it gently with your hand, no force pressure. And now we're going to put the nut back in, and we've done one side. And then once the nut's back in, we'll tighten everything up. Now I don't know what the torque settings are for these nuts, but I just tightened it up. I used the crescent or spanner, whatever you want to call, and then I used the ratchet. I did it up hand tight, just so I can't turn it anymore just by hand, just without too much force, and then I gave it another 3/4 of a turn, so it's nice and tight. Right, here we go. Now she's all back together. All I have to do now is put the wheel on. I'll pump the brakes a couple of times just to push the calipers in and check, make sure the fluid's okay, and then I'll do the other side. Now I won't show you the other side, you just repeat the process for the other side, and that's how you change the brakes on the Ford AU. And then when you're finished and all's well, and you top the fluid back up to the recommended level, and then when you take your car for a drive, they recommend you drive at about 60, providing there's no cars behind you, and apply your brakes, slow down to about no less than 40 or 20 without too much pressure, and you repeat that quite a few times until you feel the brakes starting to grip. But in between that, give the car a rest too, to give the time for the discs to cool down, and that's how you change the front brakes. Thank you.